Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. I do hope that you enjoyed last Saturday's Four Against the Great Old Ones play. Cloud Hub. If you're on Cloud Hub, I did not thumbnail that. I didn't album cover it or whatever you want to call it, because Cloud Hub captured a perfect moment in there. I'm trying to read off the how one of the spells works for the character I'm playing, and my audio kept breaking up. My audio broke up because my webcam was catching the audio and not the microphone, because I did not have the microphone plugged in. I thought I had the right USB end. I did not. So, yeah. It's okay, I can laugh at myself, it's fine. And I did. I thought it was a perfect moment. Everybody's cracking up at me, and I decided to just leave it at that. That was a good screenshot. I was going to leave it. I did want to come to you with a message before I started, though. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to go ahead and lay out your cards for this week. So, the message is a very simple one. Do not tolerate tyrants. We've been running into a lot of those lately. People who are making proclamations and saying things, and I say openly defy them at every turn, oppose them at every turn. If you really want to do even better than that, just flat ignore them, block them, mute them, whatever you got to do. But do not tolerate tyrants. And I say that because we are coming into July. July is an interesting month because you will hear me talking about nothing but independent games, because many of us are declaring our independence from larger, tyrannical corporations. And point taken to some who say, yeah, once you have the book, it's out of their hands. That's true. But there are companies that acknowledge this. Trollord Games, Elflayer Games. In fact, Elflayer Games, I will get on them in just a second. But Elflayer Games, their entire system is so customizable that you can truly play it your way. If you're used to a D20 system, such as the one in official Dungeons and Dragons and a few others, you could play it that way. If you are more into a percentile-based system or a D6 system, yes, you can play that system that way. It's literally built to be modular. Speaking of which, I said I would get back on them in just a second, but I'm going to shout this out. I will have a link in the description below. I know YouTube doesn't like links. I don't give a shit. That link will take you to a Kickstarter for Elflayer Games' game Wasted Lands. It uses the exact same system as Night Shift Veterans of the Supernatural Wars, which I hope you will also check out. If you're in the market for a new game, this Kickstarter, its goal is 18,000. We are, I shouldn't say we, I'm not a part of them, but I have interviewed Jason. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. You can still catch that replay, and he explains it all. He explains what to expect from it. He explains everything about the game. This is a unique take on fantasy because the things your character does in the weirdest game of telephone ever. And if you don't know what telephone is I whisper something into one person's ear, that person does the same on down the line. By the time it reaches the last person gets a message completely different from the one I gave them. So in the weirdest game of telephone ever, your character essentially becomes one of the gods of legends. Your character becomes Odin and Thor and Indra and Kali Ma and so on and so forth. Also, if you pick up Night Shift in the Night Shift Night Companion book, there's a class called the Immortal. Your character can become a god in Wasted Lands and then go on to ruin every bit of mysticism around the character he or she became. Imagine doing an investigatory type scenario, and they come across a piece of this lore. Well, we got this cult around this god, and they claim that this god slaughtered this person and threw lightning and caused a great tumult, and that person can go, wait, no, that's not what happened. The sword fight happened. I did remove that person's head, but the lightning is talking about, no, that was a transfer of his power to me. You can basically do a weird version of Highlander that way. Or one of your angel, celestial characters can say, that's not the way that went down. Sorry, folks. Actually went down a lot stranger than that. So yes, you can easily become gods and then parlay those gods right into the next game, which uses the exact same system for a more dark and urban fantasy feel. I also have an article on Substack. Please go read that. That highlights the independent games. And I am going to do a little consultation with Jason. So when I come back next week, we're going to see if maybe I can't get on a rewarding whoever backs this Kickstarter. I backed it myself. I do recommend it. I think this game is going to be absolutely great. If it's anything like Night Shift, it's going to be awesome. And it uses the same system, so I would recommend getting in on it. But we are coming up on the month where I'm celebrating independent games because we celebrate our independence as a nation. I know how some might roll their eyes at that right now, but trust me on this. We're moving forward with our independence. You, me, everyone. So let's see, how do we do that? Because this is going to be the last reading for June, the 6th month of the year, and we're already done. We're moving into a brand new month. What are we going to do with it? Okay? Past is the past. You can't go back and change it. Let's see what we're going to do about today. All right. Who are we today? There's a good question. Are we recognizing that time is precious? Are we? You know, this is that I don't have time to explain this, kid. Get in the fucking chariot. And that's exactly what's going on. We don't have time to explain. We don't have time for this, that, or the third. And we have to make sacrifices with our time. We have to maximize our time. We have to do well with our time. We cannot simply waste our time. Except when it comes to a tyrant. I recommend wasting their time if you have time to do it. If you have better things to do, then get on doing them. Alright, time is precious. That's who we are right now. But we are being guided by Yggdrasil. We're recognizing that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. We're recognizing that we may be part of the whole, but we also may be the whole itself. And I mean W-H-O-L-E, not H-O-L-E. But your contributions to the whole will matter. You belong. And you do deserve a wonderful life, but your destiny is both fated and shaped by your will, so you're going to have to be present in the moment. You're going to have to be very grounded. Far too often, we start living in our heads. We envision ourselves as the hero, and every hero needs a bad guy, and you found your bad guy, and you're going to go after them. Well, how are you doing it? You know, Brigantia Blackbird and I talked on Tuesday, and I hope you caught it. And what we were talking about was pagan values and American values, how they're compatible, what things that we share in common. And it's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. The divine spark in all of us is the desire to create. Now, whether that's creating a piece of music, making a movie, or a small series on YouTube, BitChute, CloudHub, Rumble, Kick, whatever, Odyssey, Twitch, creating that kind of thing, creating a piece of literature, creating your own game, no matter what it is. I don't care if it's a card game. Whatever you choose to create, even another human being, when you choose to create, there is that divine spark. Your creativity should not be governed by anyone else. It should not be negotiable to anyone else. It should be what you create. And you should continue creating. because that is how you exercise true godlike power. Everyone has something they can create. I don't care if you create so much as a solution to a problem that actually exists. Create it. Some people need to create bridges and get the hell over themselves. Some people are creating bridges between one group and another, and their efforts should be applauded and rewarded. I can think of two people right now. One of them's a fellow YouTuber, Kelsey Dion, over at the Arcane Library. That's what she did. Another one is Tony from Fractured Brain Studio. Guess what? He's all up in that article I wrote last night. I hope you caught it. Alright. We're looking at a giraffe spirit. We need to zoom out a little bit. We do need to see the bigger picture. Guess what? There's an old saying, you can't see the forest for the trees. We just came from a tree. If all you're seeing is your part, you're not looking at the much larger picture. You're not zooming out to see how you're necessary. And that can be dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. Very much so. You really do need to pay attention to that kind of thing. And you know what? I'm going to let that sink in just a little bit. Think about it for a second. What are you currently looking at in life and going, you know what? I just don't see where I'm really contributing anything. Look at the value you create, even if others aren't recognizing it right this second. Because think about it. If right now you're struggling with being, say, the voice of reason, for example, and you're wandering about going, you know what, I just don't see what kind of value I'm creating, well, then you're just missing it. Because what if everyone, or what if enough people, not everyone, just enough people came around and said, wait a minute, hold on. No, that's true right there. That's it. That's what we're looking for. And suddenly it starts as trickle, 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 then flood. What if that were to happen? And you weren't there to be that voice of reason. What if you are you may not be what they're looking for right now, but what if suddenly you decided not to contribute that one little piece, that one little thing that you could do? Remember, we talked about this. You don't worry about what everyone else is doing. You do what you have to do. You lead by example. You don't say a word. You don't do anything but. You put it out. You put your advice out there. You leave it at that. You walk away. Now, what if you did not put that out there? That one little piece of advice. What if you didn't? I said this on Twitter this morning. I said, look, if you ever really want to know where the tyrants are in your life, live by this philosophy. You do you, I'll do me, and we'll part ways where we just disagree. And you stick to it. And watch those masks slip. All it takes is 3 words for the mask to go away. That's not enough. Your response is, okay, and walk away. And if they start coming at you, that is a tyrant. Tyrants will undo themselves. I just watched it happen to one person. Alright? Let's look at you mentally right now. Got a 9 of coins. Got a 3 of cups. And we got the magician. So, you do have everything you need. If you look around you right this second, you'll realize your life has never been more complete than it is now. You do have all your thoughts in order. That is definitely something to celebrate, because this is you putting all your components together. All of your elements are now you're in a mental state to where all of your elements are going to combine. You have everything you need. You realize it now, and if you don't, you will go ahead, you will focus on this for just a moment, and then you will realize everything you need is right there in front of you, right there in your head. Your thoughts are your own. They always will be. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to tell you this, but my channel is only about, this is basically a glorified advice column. I don't know how else to put that, but that's what this is. It's just an advice column. I'm not telling you how to live your life. In fact, you could watch this reading and go in the complete opposite direction, and guess what? You'll figure it out. You will. Like I said, I'm looking for warriors. I'm looking for people who are willing to stand up and take control of their own life. I think that's you. And I'm not going to berate you for not doing something. I'm not going to berate you for missing a week. I'm not going to berate you for missing a live stream. I'm not going to berate you because you didn't take a piece of advice that I gave you. Life is funny. It has a way of doing that. It has a way of doing that in my stead. I'm serious. Sometimes you'll do it to yourself. Want another piece of friendly advice? Don't do that. Don't. Don't beat yourself up. It's okay. Horse threw you off. Get back up on that thing. You may fall 10 times. Get up 11. You may fall 21 times. Get up that 22nd. You may fall 100 times. Get up on that 101st. You ever seen those movies where a guy gets the absolute dog shit kicked out of him? Big movie fight, he's just getting the crap kicked out of him. And he keeps getting up. The other guy's like, stay down. And he gets up and he's like, you'll have to kill me. That is our attitude right now. You have everything you need. I hope you took that little bit of rest. I hope you took that moment to really just kind of, understand that you're not unbreakable. But you are more resilient than you might think. Okay? Be happy. Here's the thing about this mental state right here. I've said this before. This is going to seem really stupid, but it works. You get up in the morning. Hey, thank goodness I got up. Man, I'm thankful I have my tea here. Thankful for this big old Batman mug, because I love me some Batman. Thankful I got my honey. Thankful I got my computer so I can get this out to you. Thankfully I have a means of recording this. Thankfully I have these cards so that I have these tools at my disposal. Be thankful. Practice that gratitude. Do it every day. Because you're going to find a whole lot more to celebrate. And it's going to make this seem pretty effortless. Alright, let's go ahead and move on to your physical. See what's going on there. We've got Temperance, a Page of Wands, and we got an Emperor. I mentioned this. I mentioned this in a retweet. Razor Fist pointed out that our comic books, our movies, our media, basically, should be an escape, a healthy escape from reality. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know how to tell you this, but I agree with him 100%. However, there needs to be a little bit of an emphasis on the word healthy. Too much of anything can be very harmful. As much as I love games, I can't play them all the time. I wish I could. As much as I love doing this channel, I really can't do it all the time. Time just, my time is precious. It does not permit, and unfortunately I have a ton of things to do. Well, and it saddens me because I really do love spending time with you. But absence does make the heart grow a little fonder. And so I think we really need to be this more than anything. I want you to remember something. You don't have to be a blazing inferno to attract people. You really don't. Sometimes you can kind of dial it back a little bit and you'll be just fine. As a matter of fact, it was one final little matchstick in that movie The Fifth Element that did everything they needed. It wasn't what they wanted, but it was what they needed at the time. And that's what this news is going to be. This news is not going to be what you want to hear, but it's going to be what you need at the time. I think this is going to set everything in motion. And here's the thing. It may have you feeling a little bit on top of the world, but I'm going to tell you this much right now. You're going to realize very quickly, heavy is the head that wears that crown. I bear witness to it every day. And the Emperor is very much a hard ass. However, while no one wants to mess with the Emperor is always looking over his shoulder. Because there's always a usurper just around the corner. There's always someone poisoning his ear, right? That's why temperance is probably the most important thing. That's why getting that news and understanding it's not what you want to hear, but it's what you need is going to be the most important thing. It's going to make this burden just that little bit lighter. Let's go over here. We've got a 5 of Cups. We have a 9 of Cups. And then we have a Queen of Coins. This 5 of Cups in your spiritual life, well, there's some big tragedy there. I think this is where your focus should probably be, if I have to give any advice right now. This is where your focus is going to need to be, because again, we have these 9s coming up. But this 5 of Cups, this is loss with regret, and it comes without learning the lessons involved. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to tell you. But if you're regretting something, look at it again and say, what can I learn from it? This goes back to having everything you need in your mind. You're still going to find something to celebrate in here. And that's evidence from this. Because this is being complete in your emotions. So far what I'm seeing is I'm seeing a missing puzzle piece. You're wondering what's missing. It's going to come from here. I'm asking you to be careful not to overcorrect, okay? Just because you quit hugging a wall doesn't mean you need to go veering toward the other one, right? And this is a very opulent position. But I've noticed something. Look at how that lines up. Pulling yourself together, really getting things done, bang, look at me, right? It's a little flashy. That's why temperance is here. Because that missing puzzle piece is going to make you at the point where you want to show it all off. Just be sure you earned it, okay? That's all I ask. And it could be anything, talents, abilities, anything. Be sure that you've earned it. Let's look at your Moonology. Alright, I'm just going to flip all 3. Because we're talking about manifestation here, and we really need that. We need that manifestation. But we're going to start with a full moon in Taurus. And it tells yourself to detoxify. Now, if you have to take some time off social media, if you have to get away from the things which are wasting your time and killing you, I'm going to tell you right now, do it. Step back. Take some time to meditate. Take some time to reflect. It's fine. That's what this is all about. Let me tell you something. When you're striving for strength of mind, body, and spirit, you're unstoppable. And you will absolutely, positively get it done. You'll earn that crown right there. You'll earn that crown right there. People will see you have your shit together. They want to know what the hell you did to do it. But here's the thing. That full moon in Aquarius is telling you to absolutely be real. Be 100%. Don't be fake. You know, faking it till you make it's one thing. Faking it beyond that is something entirely different. That's all I really got on that one. And here we go. We have a last quarter moon in Virgo, which means attending to details. Right here in your spiritual center, I'm going to venture a guess. You've been kind of lacking here. Maybe you haven't been attending your church or your temple or whatever. Maybe you haven't been attending your altar. Maybe you just have not been meditating as you should. Now's a good time to do it. It's like that line in the Cheers theme song, getting away from all your worries sure would help a lot. Pointing at that detoxify card again. Finally, your runes, we'll wrap up and get out of here. Alright, so we're starting with Inguz or Ingvaz, however you want to pronounce that. Sure, you may be a brick, and bricks are pretty strong. But when you surround yourself with other bricks, and you find the right mortar to hold you together, nothing is stronger than that. Your support system is going to be everything. And likewise, you need to be that support system in turn. Otherwise, your precious wall breaks down, and you're protecting what's most vulnerable right now. So don't break down, okay? Don't put yourself in a position to break down. We also have Fehu. This is that wealth we were talking about, pointing right at that Queen of Coins. We have two cards, two 9 cards that symbolize an earthly completion and an emotional completion. You have everything you need. This is telling you right now you have more than what you think you know. What are you doing with it? And that's the key thing. Now with Manas, we're going to have to approach from a perspective of humanity. Here's the thing, it's not that we don't care about someone else's problems when we have problems of our own. It's not that. It's that we do have to position ourselves. If you're in the position, then do for others. If not, you need to be doing for yourself first. What do I always say when I close this out? Take care of yourselves and each other. Everything else will take care of itself. But you have to realize that your time is just as precious as anyone else's. Sometimes you have to tell people, I don't have it. I don't have it to give right now. I'm sorry. But I could probably help you find someone that will. Ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a couple examples of that. Someone sends out the Give, Send, Go, or the whatever the crowdfunding platform is for someone's medical expenses. You can't give. Oh, damn shame. What can you do though? Well, you can send that down your line. You can put it out on your social media. Maybe someone else will. Maybe someone else can. Even if you don't know the person, just go ahead and retweet it or share it somewhere and see what happens. Can't give to a Kickstarter? Hey, share it with your friends. You never know. One of your friends may be like, hey, I want that. And remember that one little bit that you did matters, because suddenly, even though you really couldn't do anything other than what you just did, encountered someone else who could. That's the bigger picture. If you're stuck on, I can't give right now, you're right. Right now, I understand everyone right now is just tapped out in many ways. Prices are going up, pay is not. I understand that. So you do what you can when you can, but no more. If you can do something more, then do it. But it's not required that you hold up the entire world. Atlas, you are not. I think I'm going to use that as the title of the video. Alright. Sometimes Atlas has to shrug. Just letting you know. Alright. That is the entire thing for today. I'm glad you stopped by. I thank you for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, all of that, no matter where it's done. And I want you to remember the most important things here. I love you all. Take care of yourselves and each other. Always do what lights you up. And as always, shine on.